The global issue I choose is pollution caused by plastic, mainly on oceans. I choose this topic because I think it's a huge problem that needs to be stopped right away. I do not say it needs to be fixed because that would be very difficult, expensive, and a long term solution to take into consideration. So, while that is done, I believe that it is our obligation to take action in this problem in order to not make it worse. And for it, we need to stop consuming these type of products.
Pollution in the oceans is mainly made of plastic. Today, there are 5 islands of garbage, which are composed majorly of plastic, being the Great Pacific Garbage Patch the main one, with an approximate size of 3 times the size of France.
This issue, although it doesn't seem as a direct impact on us, it does affect us. Starting because when plastic gets to the ocean, it performs a process called photodegradation, where plastic pieces get smaller and smaller. Due to this, it is more difficult to clean it and easier for animals to ingest it. And when this happens, it enters our food chain. Actually, in average, people ingest around the same amount of plastic in a credit card per week, which is 5 grams. This plastic is found in some of both food and water we ingest. The problem with plastic is that it takes an extremely long time to degrade, and many of it is single plastic objects that end up in the trash. To put you in perspective, around 9,000 million tons of plastic have been produced since 1950, and out of it, just 9% has been recycled, meaning that huge quantities end up either in the ocean or in trash deposits. Just in the ocean, around 200 kilograms of it reaches it per second, and if we continue at this rate, there will be more plastic than fishes on the ocean by 2050. Now, as it can be seen, not just us are affected, but also all the marine wildlife. And I believe that it is very important to understand that every single being on Earth is important and that because of them we live as we live. For example, plastic production may cause air pollution, which affects the temperature and at the same time the coral reefs that are sensitive to changes in temperature and that produces around 80% of our oxygen. It is very important to me to be empathic and take care, not just for us as a whole worldwide community, but also for our planet, with such unique condition to have us. Throughout my intercultural communications, my perspective did not change much because they didn't thought that different from me. However, they made me realize how people from different generations see and attack the problem, and that ended up completing my perspective upon the issue. My perspective still is that it is a severe problem that needs to be taken with enough importance and that needs immediate actions, not just from people but also from governments, obviously starting first by us and our surroundings. It is necessary to influence and inform our surroundings, to educate them, especially because it is hard to see the direct impacts on us, and people tend to take it with less importance than it should. In this issue, the actions of people and their voice is of great importance, since throughout information, big impacts can be made on people. I believe it is important to start acting by our surroundings, so my proposal is to involve the tech community and make the campus a more sustainable institution, so that habits and indirectly environmental education can be formed in the students and teachers. As a consequence, they can become change makers and have an impact on the community regarding this issue. My proposal consists of placing garbage disposals to collect different recyclable materials that would later be used to recycle them. As well, besides the garbage problem, it can affect other two areas. One, these companies that recycle materials usually give something in return, so these can be given to people in need. Two, organic materials can also be saved in order to make compost that can be used on an order that would need to be made and that could benefit careers such as nutrition and sustainable development engineering. As I have mentioned, by attacking this problem, no immediate changes would be seen because it is very difficult to clean it. However, we can stop adding more problems to this issue, and by making this proposal, not just plastic garbage would be reduced, but as well other types of it that also play a big problem in Earth. If made, it would impact me because a change in my surrounding community would be made, and for instance, a contribution for a better world. Some positive implications of this proposal is that the amount of waste per person could decrease, that an environmental culture and education can be shown indirectly, that marine wildlife could be, until a certain point, benefited, that land, water, and air pollution can be reduced, among others. On the other hand, some of the negative implications could be the invest needed for this type of education, for the garbage cans, and for the transport needed to take the materials to other place, or money for people to get it from the campus. Also, space for the containers and the orchard in case it is made. Organic wastes could produce smell too, and other problems. Now, as it can be seen, not just us are affected, but also all the marine wildlife. And I believe that it is very important to understand that every single being on Earth is important and that because of them we live as we live. In order to see the relation among the three sustainable development areas, I will explain it with one thing, although all of them can be connected. By making this kind of investment in education to create this type of culture and habits in students, the quality of life and the community development are benefited. And at the same time, the environment has an important impact in the decrease of pollution and in the herding of its species. These impacts, although not seem as much and although they are at a very little scale, can create huge things as more people adopt to your example. As they continue to grow and to be spread throughout our voice or tools as social media, even a global scale can be achieved. And if not, still the actions made can make a change in the world because this problematic is interconnected and affected or impacted from everyone in the world, meaning that positive actions help all and negative one affects all, obviously on different scales depending on its weight. My role inside my community is to inform and to keep taking action, but also to incite others to do so. And I believe that by making this proposal, good things can be made. Because when doing so, a more sustainable culture that later can be spread to more people is generated, and others can be inspired by it. For example, other tech campuses around Mexico can take action as well, and a bigger impact would be made. Also, an important role I would have in this proposal can be to investigate more about other companies and seeing which is the most convenient for tech, and to give the information on where to get the cans or so. But also, once it is in action, conscientize my friends and classmates and invite them to participate for a better impact, a better community, and in consequence, a better world.